Howdy you all and welcome to today's video on diversity in sports. Sports are universal across cultures, backgrounds, and generations. They bring people together. But while the sports can unite, we're also faced with the challenge of making sure they represent the world around us. Today, we are diving into the heart of diversity in sports and what it truly means for organizations, for athletes, for fans, for everybody. Diversity has been a hot topic across industry, and sports is no exception. Too often, the conversation stops at numbers. How many women? How many different ethnicities are represented? Yes, diversity is about representation, but it's also about so much more. It isn't just a checklist. It's about lived experiences, perspectives, and fostering environments where everyone feels valued. We need to move beyond just counting heads and start thinking about how we can build truly inclusive spaces, both in the field and out of the court. Diversity in sports means understanding and embracing differences, not just demographics. It's about making sure people from all backgrounds, ethnic, gender, socioeconomic, religious, they feel included in the culture of the sport, in decision making, and even fan engagement. There is a strong ethical component here too. Take the Rooney Rule in the NFL. It was created to make sure that at least one black candidate is interviewed for coaching roles. But we still see hiring based on personal networks rather than on merit or on diversity. This shows that diversity efforts can sometimes be superficial. The challenge for sport managers is to go beyond compliance, beyond legal obligations, and make ethical decisions that reflect a commitment to inclusion. What's right isn't always easy, but it's necessary to drive true change in sport organizations. And here's something to think about: diversity isn't just about ethics, it's good for business. Research shows that diverse organizations perform better, both financially and on the field. Why? Because they're tapping into a wider range of ideas, understanding their fan bases more deeply, and building more innovative strategies. When sport organizations hire people from diverse backgrounds, they gain insight into their communities, like why ticket sales may be lagging into certain neighborhoods, or how to better connect with specific fan groups. And when employees feel valued, they bring their A game. An inclusive work environment leads to greater engagement and higher performance. Now, let's talk about the law. Two big pieces of legislation impact sport organizations in the United States: Title IX and the American with Disabilities Act, or ADA. Title IX requires schools to provide equal opportunities for women in sports. Despite its success, violations still occur, often leading to costly lawsuits. On the other hand, ADA ensures that people with disabilities have equal access to sport facilities and opportunities. It's about more than building ramps. It's about creating a culture that's inclusive for everyone. Diversity in sports is also shaped by globalization. Take women's golf, for example, where South Korean golfers have completely changed the sports landscape. As more international athletes succeed, sport organizations have to embrace cultural diversity, both in their player rosters and in their fan engagement strategies. And then there is intersectionality, the idea that each person has multiple identities that shape their experiences. For instance, Black female athletic directors may face both gender and race related challenges. Understanding these layers helps organizations create better support systems and foster truly diverse leadership. But achieving diversity isn't without its challenges. Stereotypes and prejudice still exist in sports organizations. From the stereotype of the dumb jock to unconscious biases in hiring practices, diversity efforts can be hampered by outdated ideas. Prejudices can be subtle, but still damaging. Whether it's favoring former athletes during hiring or holding certain groups to different standards. Overcoming these biases requires intentionality, education, and leadership that champions diversity at every level. Now, let's talk about inclusion, which is the heart of any successful diversity strategy. Diversity is the presence of differences. Inclusion is making sure everyone feels like they belong. And the benefits are clear. Organizations that focus on inclusions tend to be more innovative, more competitive, and have more loyal fan bases. Creating an inclusive environment requires work from building strong relationships with employees to fostering opportunities for their growth. Sport organizations that engage in meaningful diversity and inclusion efforts, they see better performance. They have reduced turnover and they have more creativity across the board. So, what can sport organizations do to embrace diversity and inclusion? It starts with recruiting efforts, inclusive policies, and breaking down implicit biases in hiring. But it doesn't stop there. Leadership needs to be actively engaged in creating a culture that values everyone's unique contributions. Committees, task forces, ongoing training sessions, all of this can help reinforce these values. And remember, actions speak louder than words. Organizations must live their values because when employees feel seen and supported, that's when they perform their best. Thank you for joining me today. If you're my student, check out the assigned reading. If you are not my student and you stumble across this video for information, check out more on this channel for more ideas on how to create and maintain vibrant, sustainable sport organizations that thrive in the dynamic and current sport industry.